Hello, good morning, everybody. I appreciate your joining here. I am your instructor for the course DevOps. You know, myself Rajashekar. You are seeing here Amarnath Bella is actually I'm using his account. Going forward, I'm going to use my account. So you call me Rajashekar, okay, for any questions. Yep. You know, I've got total 10 years of experience in IT industry. I have been working into this infrastructure management for more than 8 years. My entire career was into infrastructure. In my tenure I served multiple organizations, right from being an system admin, then middleware admin, then DevOps consultant. I worked for multiple projects in my tenure. uh, I delivered my work, services into the multiple accounts actually. Currently I'm working as a DevOps consultant for Siemens. uh, yep, I love to explore anything that has to do something with cloud and DevOps. You might have heard that already in my demo sessions. I'm really fond of exploring anything with the cloud and DevOps. So that's what about me. Can I have a short introduction from everybody? A short introduction, so your name, your education background, if you're working, your profession, where are you from? Yeah, can we start, please?
Yeah, hello Shekhar. This is Abhineet Hande from. I am from Umaria district, Madhya Pradesh. Currently, I'm working in Cognizant in Pune location.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having 3 years of experience in Cognizant infra services.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working as a Microsoft Exchange administrator, and I'm looking to change my profile, and I'm looking to have a job in DevOps profile. So that's why I'm joining this course.
Great.
Thank you.
Welcome. Next.
Hi, this is Ram Krishnan Raja. Uh, I'm from Hyderabad. So currently I'm working as an infrastructure engineer from the past 8 years. My educational background is MCA. So I'm looking to convert as a DevOps engineer. So thank you.
You're welcome. Next. Will be the next. Abhineet, done.
I am Sushmita.
Hi, Sushmita. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, and my educational background is MBA.
All right.
I'm from Hyderabad.
Yeah. You got any experience?
Yes, I do have, but it's related to MBA.
All right. No problem. You're welcome.
Hi, sir. I am Geeta Madhuri.
Hi, Gita.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning. Please go ahead.
I am passed out in my educational background 2015 in MCA.
Mm-hmm.
I have no experience. I'm looking for job DevOps.
No problem.
I'm newly started my career.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, next. Yeah, go next. Sagar, Alexander, you want to give introduction about yourself?
Hi, my name is Alexander. Can you already hear me?
Yes, Alexander, please go ahead.
Yes. My educational background is engineering, specifically petroleum engineering. That's my educational background. But I entered into IT some few years back as a network engineering. That's what I've been doing. The company I work with is also doing more of cloud engineering. I've been helping out with whatever it's doing, and I want to gain more knowledge. That's why I'm here to learn more to help. Yeah,
that's great. Welcome. Hey,
My name is Sagar.
hi Sagar. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Sagar.
Yes, please go ahead.
I am currently job with hardware networking and studying on DevOps.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, hi Bala. Welcome. Hello. You able to hear me?
Hey, hi.
Hi Bala.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You want to give a short introduction of yourself?
Yes, this is Bala. I just completed my BTech, so I just looking for the new technology learning.
Perfect. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for your self intro. That was good. Much appreciable. Let me share my screen. Hope everybody able to see my screen, right?
Amar, can you please start recording?
Oh,
Sorry, Shekhar.
I did not start it. Huh? Okay. I know it is being recorded. See, you are recording. Yeah.
Okay.
So you might have already heard about DevOps, right? Already, you know what is DevOps. You know what kind of tools will be using in the DevOps lifecycle in the pipeline. You know, you might have heard about the DevOps pipelines. You know, stages, production, testing. You know, staging, development, right? UAT, user acceptance testing, and all, right? So these are the terminal. These all are the terminologies. You know, we use in IT industry when you develop any software, any application. So we see, you know, about DevOps. You know, what was the necessity, you know, to have this model to be adopted, right? Before DevOps came into existence, what kind of models were being used for the software development process, and all we see, you know, in the today's session. I will give a, you know, short introduction about DevOps. So why we need to adopt DevOps. So I might have covered all of them in my demo session, but I feel that, you know, make you you know, or give you good understanding. So what were the drawbacks with the old models, right? Traditional models. So that is very important. I feel, you know, to understand the DevOps. It will be useful for the implementation, because once you know the drawbacks with the old models, so you will you are going to actually implement in your DevOps pipeline, you know, in a very effective way. So what is DevOps? So as you see in the name itself, it is actually combination of Dev and Ops, right? Dev means development, OPS means operations, right? So what basically this development team does, they're actually responsible for developing, designing, and building the application, right? Then what actually operations teams does? So operation team does, they actually deal the deployments, the testing phases, right? And the operations monitoring, they take care of the entire operations of the application. So once the development team develops the code, and once the designing, this planning, the developing done, once your application is ready, then that need to be deployed to the somewhere, right? Some server, or let be the server can be from cloud or from on premises, anything. But once the your application is development done, you need to deploy that to somewhere, right, to the server, to get that applications, to get the benefits of the software that you developed. So that need to be deployed somewhere. So this deployment will be taken care by operations team, for example, infrastructure team. So we discussed a little bit about the software development process, how usually the software development works. Okay, before we get into the subject, we discuss about the software development process. Okay. See, guys, in any industry, right? You take any industry, any organization, one should have certain standard process, right, to develop any kind of product. You take any product that you're seeing in the real world, right? In your regular life, you take any product, there must be a standard process, must be added, must be followed to develop the product which goes to the customer at the end of the day, right? So let's say, for example, you take a car manufacturing company. They must have a standard procedure, standard process to develop their car, to deliver that till the car delivered to the customer. There must be a standard process, right? It goes to the many phases. Designing will be taken care by some other team. Then manufacturing of the engine, or chassis, tires. There are different divisions in manufacturing the car itself, right? So one team will develop the chassis bar, one another team is developing these are taking care of the design, and different parts will be taken care of by different team. Then assembling is a different team, then testing is a different team. So before your product the finally be delivered to the customer, your product will go through the many more phases, right? Many phases actually, right from designing to till it deliver to the customer. There are so many phases it has to go through. You take any product, that is the very regular and very standard procedure one should follow. So in IT industry, to what basically IT industry does, you know developing a software, any software you take Microsoft Excel, Word, or GoToMeeting, that we are currently using. Any product you take, right? It's an application, it's a software product developed by somebody, and you are actually getting the benefits out of it. You are actually using it. You are getting the applications, right, out of that application, out of the software product that was developed by somebody. You are actually using it. So to develop any software, one need to follow this software process, development process, so which is called SDLC, software development lifecycle. One should follow this process. Okay, what actually SDLC will be having, right? Software development lifecycle. You will have you will have so many phases, including right from designing, the plan, right? So how once the product is developed, once it is went into the production, so how you actually maintain it, if there are any enhancement, how you enhance it, if you get new requirements to enhance the product, how you enhance it. So this kind of all steps will be taken care in the SDLC itself, the software development lifecycle, right? You take any example. So one should adhere this software development lifecycle in IT industry. So there are standards set. It's so you see my desktop. These are the phases usually be included in the SDLC, right from planning to the maintenance. So your leadership team, or somebody, the architects, they plan the product, what technologies need to be used, what tools need to be used, what's the deadlines, when the customer is expecting this a product to be delivered. So these kind of discussions will happen in the planning phase, right? So once the planning phase, and once they get the requirements from client, they actually analyze it, when we can deliver it, and they actually assess the work. I mean, how many people they need to hire for it, and how many teams, and all, so on. They actually discuss it, and once that planning analysis done, that comes to the design, right? Uh, you actually, any software that you usually develop, one should adhere this three-tier architecture. So that's a basic standard architecture. So what's the three-tier architecture? As you see in my screen, over my screen, this presentation layer, web layer, is be presented to the customer. So customer can only see this presentation layer. Customer cannot see the application layer, what's happening behind, right, behind the scene, right? The database layer where the data is being stored, customer don't know. So the web layer, the presentation layer, will be exposed to the customer. Customer cannot see what's happening in application layer and database layer. So whatever the product, whatever the software you develop, that will basically fit into this three-tier architecture. Yeah, any questions so far with the software development lifecycle and three-tier architecture? Yeah, no questions.
Yes, guys, please feel free to ask your question. So don't be hesitate, because you are also working professionals. So whenever you have any stuck-ups or clarifications, so you can shoot out the questions. Shekhar is always here to help you.
All right. Yeah, you please, feel free to raise your hand, and stop me if there are any questions you find in middle of the conversation, right? I appreciate that. Yeah, before we get into the DevOps subject, we discuss about the traditional models. So why these traditional models are being used before this DevOps come into the picture, right? So what actually happens? So this SDLC is being there for a long time. I mean, it's been there for a long time, since ages. So the software development life cycle is being followed for years, right? So, but the software development life cycle, using the software development life cycle, is being enhanced, is being developed for years and years, right? Right from waterfall model. Before waterfall model, there might be some other SDLC were being used. We don't know, some other different organizations will use. Ultimately, what this development life cycles, how it will help you in developing your software. You are actually developing it, right? Year by year, or when some other organizations will come up with some other approach, another organization, they are using them, they might be using some other development life cycle in developing their software, right? So after so many years, after struggling so many years with the traditional models, so organizations want to have a standard process to develop the software, which actually makes your job ease, which actually makes your life easy, right? For that, they are actually, come up and evolve the software development life cycle to the best. Now, at the organization level, DevOps is the one we have for that purpose. So before we discuss about the DevOps model, we discuss about the waterfall model. You see here, it is replicating the software development life cycle, right? System design, requirement gathering. Requirement gathering is the first step. Then system design, then system implementation. Once we gather the requirements, then we design it, then we implement it, then it goes the once see the you see there is step 1, 2, 3 here. You see here actually there are three steps, right, which involves the development. Then next goes to the system testing, system deployment, then system maintenance. These steps 4, 5, 6 are goes to the operations team. 1, 2, 3 goes to the development team. Then 4, 5, 6 goes to the operations team. So these are the very basic phases any software should go through, right? All this at the time of developing the software. So what happens in phase one? They gather the requirements, right, and the plan will be developed. In the next phase, system is planned and designed using the SRS. And in phase three, the system takes place. I mean, implementation will happen. So basically, developers will be hired, and there'll be somebody sitting out there, an architect who plans the that complete development, and they actually guide the team. What need to be developed, the features, the complete structure will be developed. The prototype or the product prototype will be developed. Then it goes to the testing in the phase 4, and the quality will be assured there, right? For tester, there is some other team sitting out there who takes care of the testing. Once the product is developed, it goes to the testing. So they will in the testing phase itself, the software will go through the many phases to make sure the we are actually delivering the right product, very quality product to the customer. So how you take the car, you go and buy the car, right? So you I mean, once you get the car delivered, that need to be worked in a proper way. I mean, it should not give you any issues, right, after once you started driving it. So why? Because you don't basically get any issues. Why? Because your car must have gone through many phases, right, in the quality assurance as well. So in that way, even software will be delivered to the customer. So there will be so many phases it has to go through. Then in phase 5, the system is deployed to the end users. In the same way you get your car, in the same way your product, your software will be delivered to the customer. Then in phase 6, regular maintenance of the system is regular maintenance, right? So once the software is developed, I mean developed and deployed into the production, once the client is start using it or customers starting using it, that means that is exposed to the customers. Now your service is available to the customers. So for the business, you need to take care of the regular maintenance activities of the application itself, right? Once the software is deployed, they might be some enhancement your client will expect after deployed it to the in the production to the customers. Your client may come in after a month or after a week. I want to develop this feature. I want this feature to be available for my customer. So for that kind of requirements will come. Also with the maintenance, you need to taking care of your infrastructure to make sure your application is up and running at all the time and available to the customer. So that's the basic agenda behind this phase 6, the regular maintenance of the system. So this is the waterfall model. Waterfall model is another traditional model which was used to develop the software. So this is very straightforward. As you see in the SDLC, the requirement gathering done at here, and then it goes to the all software development lifecycle phases. Then agile model. What's the difference between agile model and the waterfall model is that, so in waterfall model you actually deliver the product, you develop the product using all these phases and deliver it to the customer. What's the difference between the waterfall model and agile model comes, some little bit enhancements were done to the waterfall model before it comes to the agile model. So what basically happens in agile model? In agile model, you develop the software and it goes to the for testing, and you deploy it, and you make the prototype. It goes to the iterations. So once you able to make the product to certain extent, so which you can reliably deliver it to the customer. Okay, you that software development life cycle will goes into the iterations. Iteration 1, develop some prototype, then iteration 2, enhance it, then iteration 3, you develop it to the some extent, then deliver it to the customer. That's what happens in the agile model, right? We see how DevOps is, you know is really different from agile. What we are going to get with the DevOps compared to the traditional model. You see here, DevOps deals with filling the time gap between the development team and the operations team. What happens in Agile model? Agile methodology deals with filling the gap between customers and the company, right? Customers. So there are only two parties here. You see in Agile model, a customer and the company. What happens? As a team, as a single team in the company, people will develop it and deliver it to the customer. Deliver it to the customer, right? Am I audible to everybody? Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
Shekhar.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, so in here you
Yes,
see
you're audible.
yeah, thank you. In agile model, there are actually two parties, right? Customer and the company. So you develop the software. We don't know how many teams are there in the software, but there might be, two or three or four, five teams, but there is no collaboration between the teams at all in the agile model. So you develop the software, just struggling, between the teams, and you finally deliver it to the customer. Customer may end up with so many issues. You don't actually get that comfort with the agile model. What happens here, the feedback will be coming from the operations team to the development team. So here you see operations team and development team, the feedback will come from operations team directly to the development team itself. Immediately within a minute you will get the feedback. But what happens in the agile model, the feedback will be coming from the customers to the company. See the difference? See, in agile model, what you can do, once your product is developed, then after it may go through the testing phase in the company, but your testers might not detect that bug. Once it goes to the customer, then your product is directly exposed to the client itself for the business, right? Then actual issues will come up. So client, your customer, may expect a different what do you call, ease with your application, right? So then client will actually face some issue, customer will face some other real time issues. Then that comes to the your client. So client will reach you out to the company saying that, no, actually I expected this kind of feature, this kind of, what do you call, design, but you actually delivered me this feature. So there are so many issues, there are so many bugs involved here. So blah blah blah, this kind of conversation will be going between, the end customer, the client, and the company. It focuses on constant testing and delivery. Here you see, here you see it focuses on constant changes, right? So once the client comes back to the customer will again, will again go for the change. Again you'll have to reach out to his developers and then, start implementing it for the change. Here you're focusing, your changes, or whatever the features changes that you would like to develop, that you would like to enhance with the product. Okay, that directly comes from the team, your architects or your leadership team, and that will be directly implemented at the development itself. So what you are delivering here, you are constantly delivering the service or delivering your product to the customer. Here in DevOps, here in Agile model, there is some break you are seeing here. The tools we discuss. So these are, the tools that were used. Bugzilla, Jira is a ticketing system still we are using, but that is developed to the latest model, actually to the DevOps model. Yeah, now we see what is DevOps. You see, we discuss about what is DevOps, a little bit of history of DevOps, why we need to adopt DevOps, right? What is the necessity to adopt DevOps to overcome the issues that were being faced using the traditional models, and DevOps architecture features. This is all we'll discuss today. Yeah, as you see here, as we already discussed, what is DevOps? DevOps is actually comprising of two teams, the development and operations team. What development team does and what operation team does, as we discussed already. Development team will taking care of the development, the planning, design, and the operations team taking care of their deployment, operations. Once your application is deployed to the production and in the environment and servers, then that need to be taken care by operations team itself. You see a little bit of history of DevOps here.
Shaker.
Yeah. Yes.
So operations team means it should, I mean, testing team is also part of operations team, or as a DevOps engineer, we will be part of testing.
Uh, See, altogether, this testing phase is a bit tricky kind of thing. Okay, so basically, what you need to do, you automate it, in the DevOps pipeline itself, because testing is something plays a very crucial role here, right? So once your product is developed, if you want to get the feedback within a minute, okay, your software or your application, your code need to be tested, right? Properly, it need to be tested. What you have to do as an infrastructure guy, as a tester, as a developer, as an architect, what you need to take care of, you need to take care of the scripts in the testing phase itself. Okay, I will cover that in the next slide. Yeah, that's a good question. The testing comes with the development team or operations team. You can say, no, more or less these testing phases are automated. So there will be testing team who writes the code and all, but basically you can consider it as a development, because there might be code developing for it. Code will be developed for the it will be incorporated in your pipeline itself. So within a minute, once your code developed and pushed it to the repository, that will goes through all the testings, all the scripts, and your feedback, you will receive your feedback. I will cover that, okay, in coming slides. Does that answer?
So you mean to say, like, as a DevOps engineer, we will integrate the testing scripts into the pipeline, right?
Yes, you supposed to do that, but there will be some unit tests, like unit tests, right, unit test which will be developed by developer itself. That will be
Yeah.
incorporated in the in the unit test as a code that will be
So
incorporated. Yeah.
in general, developers will do unit testing. So
Yes,
now in
they will write
DevOps
the code.
cycle,
Yes.
we need to integrate that as well into the pipeline.
Exactly. Yes. The whole pipeline, you need to take care of the whole pipeline, right from, pushing the code. Okay. Writing the code which will be taken care by developers. You don't need to worry about that part. Right from pushing the code. I mean, once that is pushed to the repository, right from that, when the commit happened, from there to the till delivery, the infrastructure guy need to take care of the whole pipeline. I will explain you in the
Okay.
coming slide. Okay. Don't worry about that. So now you guys are
Okay.
sure about
Thank you.
what development team does and what operations team does, right? In DevOps. So DevOps is basically comprising of two teams, development and operations. So in development there are many phases. In operations there are many. We discuss about that. So far it is clear. Any more questions here? Yeah. So we see little bit of DevOps history. Um, when it actually available in the organization to use it. See, in 2007 and 2008, the DevOps idea was started, right? So before that, as we discussed already in our previous slides, waterfall model, agile model, your software development life cycle was, basically either being used the waterfall model or the agile model, right? So what agile model is actually some enhancement, some development to the waterfall model. So before this DevOps idea came into existence, these models were available to use for the software development life cycle. Software development life cycle. Yeah, in 2009, in the industry, that the first conference was deploy as a day dev and ops cooperations of like blah blah blah. Another conference called DevOps Days in Belgium also happened. So I just put this for your the basic idea. In 2010, DevOps Day conference happened in the United States at Mount View, California, right? Then in 2012, some some discussions were happened. 2014, publishing the annual State of DevOps report. So here in 2014, 2017, research done into the year of DevOps. So 2007, I mean, I think most of the companies started adopting it in 2017. Even if I look at my experience, in 2013 and 14, like we were still in my organization, for the fact we were still using on-premises environments, right? For our, I think, few of the projects, we started migrating this on-premise environment to the cloud, AWS, right? In 2013, 14, from my experience, I can recall. Yeah. So basically, I can tell you that organizations started adopting this DevOps, started adopting, migrating to the cloud. It all, started in between 2011, 12 to 2014, 15. I think now most of the companies, I think if you just look at the figures, most of the companies, they I think they are already in use of DevOps and almost in use of cloud. Smaller organizations, except the banking organizations. I think most of the organizations started using this DevOps life cycle and also with the cloud. So that's the reason we are having a session combining both DevOps and the cloud, right? In our case, it is AWS. Yeah, why did we need DevOps? So as I discussed in previous slides, there were so many drawbacks with traditional models, right? Waterfall model and agile model. To overcome that, we must have to go for DevOps. There is no alternative for it. You must go for this. Yeah, the problems. We as we discussed, the problems, right? See, in the waterfall model and the agile model, what happens if you just go back and see? See, these are different teams: requirements, design, implementation, verification, maintenance, right? What exactly happens with the waterfall model and agile model? Your development team is sitting somewhere, right? And your testing team sitting somewhere, and your operations team sitting somewhere. So from my experience, I can tell you, I have been into this infrastructure management. When started my career, like if I look at some of my experiences back then in 2013 and 14, what was happening, there was a separate development team sitting somewhere. They don't know actually what where our infrastructure is, they deployed, where how we are maintaining it, they don't know. So what happens once the development is done, that goes to testing phase, right? If testing guys are not available, or if there are some issues with the testing guys, so there will be a lot of time taking within the development and testing team, right? So once we actually plan it, okay, once the development and testing done, for certain features, once we get your package, then that comes to the operations team. I mean, our infrastructure guys. Then once the package comes to the
Shekhar,
yeah,
one second.
Yeah, Shekhar.
Abhinit, can you please go on mute? Aras, are you trying to speak something? Because we are.
Yeah. Do you have any
Yeah,
question,
I'm
Abhinit?
asking a question.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I was asking when a developer develops code.
No, your voice is not clear, Abhinit. I did not get you.
Yes, asking the code.
Hello? Can you just put your question in the chat? I'll just read it out to everybody. Your voice is not very
Yeah,
clear.
am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible. Please go on. Hello? Hello, Abhinit?
I think there is some issue at Abhinit end. Abhinit, can you please post your question in the chat so that Shekhar will address to you and everybody.
Yeah, Abhinit. Yeah, maybe you can reach me out in later point because we are running late. All right, only 4 minutes left. So there were so many silos. There were no collaboration between the teams at all. So once the package comes to the operations team, I mean to the infrastructure team, we deploy it to the target environments. So what happens, we say that once the application is deployed, we may see some spike in the CPU, some spike in the memory utilization, some issue we face, right? Maybe our infrastructure is not adequate to serve the application. So these kind of issues infrastructure team will report, right? So once this is reported, then again this report goes back to the developers or the testing. Again they just need to analyze it. Then again they say that that package comes to the development deployment team, I mean infrastructure team. Once they deploy it, but there are some issues, then it goes for the analysis.
Yeah, Shekhar, am I audible now?
Yeah, Abhinit, please go
I
on.
rejoined the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question was when a developer develops a code, how the operation teams gets notified? Are we going to get a mail or a separate ticket that a
Yeah,
code has
that's a
been
good
developed and we
question.
need to test?
Yes, now you can ignore that part, because what happens now, everything is continuous with the DevOps, right? That's the very core benefit that we are going to achieve with the DevOps. What happens in Agile model and the traditional model, waterfall model, once the code is developed, yeah, that is what the gap between the development team and operations team, right? You don't know whether the code is ready, or there will be certain meeting scheduled to discuss that, or the release is planned. You don't know that actually. That is happens with the order models, not with the DevOps model. So with the DevOps, everything is continuous, right? So you are the one who is going to set up the pipeline. So you are not going to ask the question to the development team, hey guys, when the package is ready, so please let me know. You are not going to ask that. You are going to avoid that with the DevOps. Okay. Yeah, you can expect that asking a question to the development team with traditional models, not with the DevOps model. We are going to overcome that. We're not going to ask the question to the
So
development team.
in DevOps, we will be automatically getting notified about that
Exactly. No,
somehow.
everything is automated. Okay,
Okay.
right from pushing the code to the repository, that will go to the testing phase. Then that will be deployed to the UAT testing and development, whatever the environment that you desire to deploy your package. Only with the production, it may be manual, right? Only with the production. So that will be decided by your uh, your management, your leadership team. When that particular package will be deployed to the production, that will be planned. Okay, everybody will be notified for that over email, or
Okay.
any channels. Is that clear? Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Shekhar,
Yes.
so in DevOps, is there a backup plan as well? Automatic deployment, okay. So if something goes wrong, can we revert it? Is there any another, attached pipeline to do that, or it's manual?
uh Nobody, I think that's a bit early to discuss that. So what your pipeline basically does, everything is automated, and your code and testing, once the package is ready, that will be deployed to the target environments. Okay. If you, if some issue find at testing phase itself, then it will go back to the development. It never comes to the delivery at all. Okay. Yeah. For the
No,
rollback,
no, I'm talking about rollback changes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. Rollback changes is something if you're not satisfied, with the with your development or the design or the features, then you need to call for the rollback. Till then, you don't do that. The rollback. We discuss about that. Okay, in detail in later sessions.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So, yeah. So these kind of issues, this kind of collaboration issues, will be having with the traditional models, right? So there will be blame games we play. There will be throwbacks. No, this is actually, these delays happen only because of development team. So this delays happen because of the testing team. This delays happen because of the infrastructure team did not actually do the good job to deploy it. They could have identified their infrastructure issues much earlier. Why the guys are reporting now? Why the testing teams are reporting now with their platform? So this kind of throwbacks, this kind of blame games will happen with all real models. What we are going to achieve with the DevOps, we are going to overcome such issues. Okay. So for that reason, you are going to have the DevOps just to avoid such kind of any collaboration issues. The development team with the DevOps, so there everything is being aligned here. So with the green right mark, development team and our problem solved in DevOps model. As we discussed in our demo session as well. Yeah, DevOps is a mindset. It's basically a practice that you need to adopt. It's a culture between a development team and the operations team. Yeah, this is DevOps life cycle. Everything is continuous here, right? Right from uh, right from development till to the monitoring till to the operations team. Everything is continuous. So what happens in the continuous development? Let me just give you a brief idea about each phases. Okay. um, what happens in the continuous development? Okay, so basically in earlier agile traditional model, what happens, you don't know when this what developers are developing, right? But with this continuous development, everybody knows what on which feature and which sprint is going on which feature the development team is working. Are there any different development teams currently parallelly working on different features? So everybody in the team will aware what features are being developed at this stage at this moment. Okay, so continuous development. So once the particular feature is developed, all right, once the development is done, that will be pushed to the repository. So developers no need to wait for the testers call, or no need to wait for the infrastructure guy call, no need to wait for your leadership call. Developers can aram se can they continuously develop, and they don't need to wait for anybody's call. They can continuously develop their their code. They can whenever they want, they tweak it. So if there are any issues, they again enhance it. They resolve the bugs, they resolve the defects, then they start working on, they continuously working on it. Developers can develop their code continuously, there is no stop at all. Then continuous integration, what happens in the continuous integration phase? Okay, developer A has developed some feature, developer B has developed some feature, developer C has developed some feature. Okay, so there might be some, what happens in the agile model, they need to test the integration the manually, whether my code is fit into the my code is fit with the developer A code, or developer B code, developer C code. So that kind of questions, that kind of gaps will be automatically resolved with the continuous integration, right? Then continuous testing. Once your package is ready, that will actually go through the multiple testing phases. This is continuous testing. Once this testing is done, it goes to the delivery. It goes to the once the package is means the package is ready. So that's the basic idea behind this delivery. So then that will be deployed to the desired environment development. Let's say usually in organizations, in any organizations, for any project or anything that you want to develop, you need to have one development environment, where basically teams will continuously working using the development environment for their, developing the code and just testing it, locally, blah blah blah. For development, you will have your development environment, then testing environment, and for the testing you may be having QA or quality analysis, then testing environment, or UAT, user acceptance testing. Before it goes to the production, you may have the the stage or UAT. Different organizations call their environments differently. It's individual call. Okay. Then continuous deployment, you can deploy your package to the desired environment continuously. Then continuous monitoring, once your deployment is done to the production, or you can use any of the available monitoring tools to continuously monitor your environments, in terms of CPU usage, in terms of memory usage, in terms of performance, anything. You can continuously monitor it. Then continuous feedback you will get, in between these stages. If your pipeline breaks at any point of time, you will receive your feedback within a minute. So that's basically the continuous, everything is continuous here. That is what we are going to achieve with DevOps. Yeah, you see here the tools that are aligned with the different phases. you know in this today's session, like, you just have a look at the picture, what are the tools are just aligned with this DevOps. So we will discuss deep in the tomorrow's session. Okay, what tool we are going to use, you know each and everything about the phases, this SDLC, how this pipelines developed, what is dev pipeline here, what is Q pipeline here, what is CI pipeline here. We discuss the coming sessions. Okay, these are benefits of DevOps. We discuss about the cloud computing later. Yeah, hope you have some understanding what is DevOps, why we need to go for DevOps, right? And we see each and everything in detail. So with that, I am actually, yes, stopping the session for today. Any questions so far? Hello?
I think team is good.
If no questions, we close the session for today.
No questions,
Shekhar,
Shekhar.
Shekhar, I have few, but I can discuss it offline.
Who is
Not
that? Ramakrishna?
relevant. This is Ramakrishna. Yeah.
No problem.
Not
Yeah,
relevant here, but I can talk to you offline.
no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Any more questions?
let me know your free time, so you can share with Lakshman, so I can reach out to you.
Sure. Yeah. Any
Thank you.
more questions? In the subject. Any more questions? Any doubts? So far. Yeah, I think we are good. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thanks, Shekhar. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks, Shekhar.
Thanks, Shekhar.